And we're live, and welcome to another episode of the Barry Cunningham Show. Today, I'm going to confirm, without any equivocation, that the Great Recession 2 has begun. Stick around.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
Now, you may have seen the episode I did a couple days back, maybe last week, where I was talking about how they were shorting the housing market again. Remember the movie The Big Short? Well, they're doing it again, and there was some interesting information in that video, and if you haven't seen it, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below so you can go ahead and check it out. And if you're watching this on Facebook, I'll put it in the first comment. Don't know why you'd still be using Facebook, but that's besides the case. In any event, The Big Short 2, the Great Recession 2, is now underway. And I'm going to show you some things today that are going to make you rethink how you're doing real estate sales, investing, development in this market right now. It's compelling information, and you really need to A, go look at the video I did before, and then B, understand where we're headed. If you don't know me, my name is Barry Cunningham. I'm a real estate investor and burgeoning real estate developer here in South Florida. A veteran over 25 years of 1,000 plus or so sides of a transaction, and here bringing my take and perspective on the real estate market here in South Florida. Some of what I say can be, utilized nationally, especially today's show. But mostly I talk about what's going on here in South Florida. So I have a very defined niche audience. I really niched it down because I'm here in South Florida. So I'm looking to make money down here. So this morning I went ahead and I put up my thumbnail or banner or headline image talking about the Great Recession number 2. And I feel very confidently that that's where we are, that's where we're headed. And there's a lot of fake shit going on that people are lying to you. They are absolutely lying to you. The media is suppressing it. Parts of the government are suppressing it. It's available for you to discern. You can look at it all you want. All you got to do is do some digging. You'll find it. But the Great Recession is upon us. So I'm going to play a little clip from the video I did a couple days ago that just want to do a little refresher. Just want you guys to see we're on this. We were definitely on this. It's about 30 seconds or so, but just check this out.
Floods, fires, and wind will cause more damage, making the cost of owning a home go up. Costs from higher insurance rates, higher taxes, and uninsured losses.
Okay, so now we're adding everything that we said before earlier in this broadcast, and now we're adding in the climate change stuff. Real or not, whether you believe in climate change, it doesn't matter. Obviously, the new administration does. They're about to push a whole bunch of climate change policies upon us. And here in South Florida, we're going to get hit with them because we don't get the fires as much, but we do get the wind and we do get the flooding. So here comes climate change to influence negatively the part of a mortgage that you really don't have that much control. Everybody can lock into a good rate. You know what your principal is. You know what your interest rate is. But the variables here are property taxes and insurance. And so as those go up, the property values go down.
Costs go up, the value of the home goes down, and consequently, the mortgage on the home is at a higher risk of default.
As cost of owning a property, insurance, taxes, stuff that's, nothing to do with the rate that you've locked into. You locked into a great rate when you bought your home, hopefully, and you've been trying to, be a good upstanding person and pay for that loan. But the part you don't control are taxes and insurance. The more those numbers go up, the less your value becomes. The more those numbers go up, the higher defaults become on mortgages because people can't afford to pay it. So that's what's happening right now. This video I just showed you, that was from 3 or 4 days ago. Now I want to show you something that got posted today. This article just was posted today, and it blew me away. I mean, I was absolutely blown away that, yes, I was ahead of the curve on this one. I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, guys, you didn't see this coming, did you? You thought a couple of days ago Barry was nutso. You thought a couple of days ago, Barry's just making this crap up. Now you can see it for yourself. This morning, 6:10 a.m., Reuters, Florida consumers flabbergasted as property insurers push for double-digit rate hikes. Skyrocketing insurance. Florida property insurers are jacking up rates by double-digit percentages, blaming the hikes on lingering damage from past hurricanes, a wave of litigation, and a law that encourages lawyers to sue by allowing courts to award them big fees. Yeah, of course. We told you. I told you. I watched the guy from The Big Short. I heard what he said. I just played you the CNBC video. Go back and watch my video on The Big Short. They said that due to climate change and COVID and a whole bunch of other things, property insurance is going to go through the roof. How high? Well, down here in this article, it talks about the rate increases in Florida, the third largest property insurance market among the United States, are the highest in memory. Highest in memory. According to some insurance agents and residents, one danger is that they say, and here we go, one danger they say is that the new rates could make owning a home in Florida unaffordable. You got that? Second paragraph, rising insurance rates, which is happening, is going to potentially make owning a home in Florida unaffordable. Not my information. I'm just reporting it. It's right there. Then they talked to a homeowner. Homeowner says, I was flabbergasted. His premium doubled since last August. The premium now is equivalent to half of his mortgage payment and the largest increase he has seen in 5 years as a property owner. So I've got to ask you, if you're paying $2,000 a month as your mortgage payment and your insurance becomes half of that, tack on another $1,000, are you going to be able to keep paying for that? Probably not, because I can guarantee you the taxes are going up as well. We haven't seen that yet, but I guarantee you that's the next hit. COVID, insurance, taxes, unaffordability, foreclosures. That's the way it's going to happen. And what's really funny is that this happened even though there were no major weather events last year. Nothing even happened, and they went up by double digits. So understand, as costs rise to maintain and own a home, the default rate goes up. And nobody is telling you this. When I say nobody, yeah, I'm seeing this article on Reuters. But is your real estate agent talking to you about that? I'm talking directly to you, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Everyone tells you real estate is great. Everything tells you that everything is fine. Don't worry, the market is sizzling hot. I watched a video from the CEO of Zillow telling people it's amazing hot. Houses are flying off the shelves. He's not even talking about the possibility of the second Great Recession. It is indeed coming. I'm not making it up. Why am I telling you this? One reason. I'm a real estate investor. I know people are being hurt. I didn't say going to get hurt. People are being hurt by listening to the banter of everything is great in real estate right now. For months, I told you this was coming. Since, I think, September and October. And I told you it was coming. We are going to hit a tsunami of distressed properties. And nobody wanted to believe it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. I got the hate mail. Hey, Barry, why are you saying this? Everything's fine. I don't believe you. I've talked to agents and I said, you're pricing your property at the top of the market. Your property needs $100,000 in repairs. Why would you even put a price tag like that on it? Well, I don't believe you. I'm not asking you to believe me. Here's the numbers. And I would hand them a sheet. They don't even want to know. So you know what I've begun doing? Yeah, I've begun doing something different. I've begun emailing homeowners directly because the agents aren't serving them. I'm sorry, if you're an agent and you got a listing and you're just sticking it out there and you're not watching what's happening, then you're going to be contributing to the demise of this market. If you're not actively looking at data, if you're not actively looking at stuff like this and seeing that, homeowners are going to get killed because their insurance rates are going to go up by double digits. When's the last time you walked into your seller and said, hey, listen, we need to take this into account. Property insurance is rising quickly. I'm understanding that there's double-digit hikes happening. We need to assess things. Now, there's going to be obviously some neighborhoods where that's just completely resisted because there's just so much equity. It's in a very affluent area, but some affluent properties are going to get hurt too. It's all economics. It all depends upon jobs. That was the other aspect of things. And businesses. I don't care who you are. If you made a ton of money and all of a sudden your business is gone, what's going to happen to your housing? Distress city. When we get back, I'm going to show you some seriously compelling numbers.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
Okay, so listen up here. The Great Recession 2 is underway. And what's indicative of it? Let's go ahead and look at what the Great Recession 1 was all about. So the Great Recession refers to a time back in the late 2000s. If you were in business back then, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Basically 2008, 2009, 2010, the wheels fell off, bottom fell out, however you want to describe it. There was a sharp decline in economic activity during the late 2000s. It's considered the most significant downturn since the Great Depression. The term Great Recession applies to both the U.S. recession, officially lasting through June 2009, and the ensuing global recession in 2009. Remember, how the U.S. goes, the world goes. The economic slump began when the United States housing market went from boom to bust, and large amounts of MBS, mortgage-backed securities, and derivatives ended up losing a good portion of their value. The light just came on was because the sun went down. So if we know that that's what caused the Great Recession, if we know that it was a decline in economic activity, do we have that now? Do we have a decline in economic activity? Be honest and answer that. Is the housing market in a boom right now? People think so. They think it's a boom. You see, what I'm finding out is that just back then when they buried the subprime loans, that all these bad loans that were basically ninjas, if you could fog a mirror, you would get a loan, and they were trying to offset it and they were dumping these things. We have something very similar going on right now, and I'm going to show you unequivocally, and your jaw is probably going to drop. I guarantee you, unless you've been involved with the software or some similar software, that you've never seen this information. I guarantee you, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, your real estate agent isn't showing it to you. There's just no chance that you're seeing this information the way I'm going to present it to you. Not going to happen. They're not going to offer this up front. And if you ask them for it, I don't even know if they know how to pull it. But when you see it, you're going to confirm for yourself that we're headed or in the Great Recession number 2 right now. All right, so some more data popped up, and let's talk about loss of economic activity. This came out yesterday. 8 million more. 8 million more people are living in poverty. 9 million small businesses in danger of closing. 10 million behind on rent. I think that defines a downturn in economic activity. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the definition of the Great Recession one is a sharp decline in economic activity. Well, if we're seeing 8 million people in poverty, 9 million small businesses in danger of closing, and 10 million people behind on their rent, let me ask you, what would you call it? Would you not call this a decline in economic activity? Do you see any way for this to pull out? If people are relying on $1,400 checks from the government, are we in a position where we can say our economy's going strong? Hell no. If you're being honest, no, you can't. So let's continue. The economic downturn that we are currently experiencing, keyword there, currently, not going to be, we are in it, is making the last recession look like a Sunday picnic. The economic downturn that we are currently experiencing is making the last recession look like a Sunday picnic. Mic drop. Still don't believe it, do you? Still thinking that real estate's fine. The market's booming. You still think that, don't you? Let's continue. So as we talk here, yes, 2008 and 2009 were bad, but they weren't anything like this. I love this. Well, I don't love it, but people are going to get hurt. Unprecedented intervention by the Federal Reserve has allowed the rich to get richer during this crisis, but meanwhile, millions upon millions of ordinary Americans are deeply suffering. Unfortunately, what we have gone through so far is just the beginning. That should be making some people quake right now. This is from Zero Hedge. It's also written by Michael Snyder, an author of the Economic Collapse blog. Don't believe it? Begin looking for yourself. If we're seeing millions of people out of work, millions of people in danger of their businesses going out the window, why would you doubt this? Let's continue. As a child, I was a big fan of Sesame Street, and one of the characters that really stood out to me was the Count Von Count. That dude always scared me as a kid. I love the fact that he was always counting things, and that is what I'm going to do in this article to illustrate just how bad economic conditions have now become. Let's start with the number 7. According to the Congressional Budget Office, approximately 7 million more Americans would have jobs right now if the pandemic had never happened. But in fact, what the CBO is projecting is dire. Around 7 million people out of work in 2021 who CBO thought before the pandemic would be working. That's dire. And a call to immediate action, not a wait and see. We're in big trouble. Big trouble. This guy says, personally, I think the estimate is way too low. In fact, the Federal Reserve says 152 million Americans were working before the pandemic started, and only 142 million are working now, a difference of obviously 10 million. So the CBO estimate appears to be off by 3 million. Now, we're talking huge numbers here, huge. And this article goes on and on and on. And I love this. Again, I got to stop saying love. This thing caught my eye. Can you imagine what our country would look like if a third of all small businesses permanently disappeared? Think about that. Walk through your neighborhood, drive through your neighborhood, and 3 out of every 10 businesses that you see are gone. What would happen to the real estate market? What happened to the economic activity in your local area? 3 out of 10 gone. I'm in Boca. I can drive right down Meisner Boulevard and I can just see, okay, there's 20, 30 things here. Restaurants, stores, boom, poof, they're gone. 30% out the window, just gone. What do you think? Where are those people going to live? How are they going to live? Oh, Barry, that could never happen. Oh, really? You obviously didn't see what happened in 2008, 2009. It happens fast, and it's happening right now. Then, if you watched the Super Bowl, you were bombarded with messages about the plight of our small businesses. We have never seen anything like this before, and that is because our small business have never faced a crisis of this magnitude. With each passing day, more small businesses are folding, and nothing that the federal government is going to do will stop this trend completely. Can't stop it. It's now steamrolling. Don't let anybody lie to you. Don't let anybody lie to you. People know what's happening. They're just not talking about it. And because they're not talking about it, everybody thinks the real estate market's fantastic. It's bullshit. I'm going to prove it to you. So let's continue here. As you're looking at this article, the guy says the next number is 10. According to an estimated 10 million renters were behind on their rent and at risk of eviction in the middle of January. And then an estimated 16 million had no confidence they could pay rent in February. That's kind of scary. I mean, no matter how you strike it, if there are millions of people not able to continue with their businesses, and there are nearly 10 million people who can't pay rent. I'd like you to show me, if you'd like to challenge me, leave a comment, challenge me where there's alternative information that you're relying on that says otherwise. I challenge you. Show me where things are as good as real estate agents and some in the media pontificate and posture. It's not. It's not. This stat. Overall, U.S. renters now owe at least $30 billion in back rent. $30 billion in back rent. Here's another one. So far in 2021, the number of passengers at U.S. airports are down by 60% compared to 2019. So I got something to ask you. If you got to wear 4 masks and possibly a butt swab and all the different things that's out there in the news, who knows what's true, and they're going to restrict travel. I love the idea that they want to restrict travel to and from Florida. That's insane. Who's going to get on an airplane? So all these businesses in Fort Lauderdale and Boca and West Palm and Jupiter that rely on tourists, this is our big time right now. As you know, if you live here in South Florida, this is the big time. This weekend it was supposed to be the Coconut Grove Art Festival down in Miami. Love that event. Love it. The Air and Sea Show I see is scheduled for May. Who knows if that goes off. All these giant tourist events are happening right now during this period of time. Mardi Gras up in Jupiter. I don't know if that went off. But all these things are being canceled, and you're not going to be able to make that money up. Small businesses who have laid out deposits, my gosh, the Miami Heat, there's nobody there. Dolphins, yeah, I went to like 4 or 5 games, had a great time, but it was awful sitting in the stadium with 14, 15,000 people. No Sunfest, no festivals, no Tortuga, nothing. Where's that money is forever gone. Everybody from the vendors to the promoters to the restaurant owners to the hell. You can't put bodies back in hotels from yesterday. If the room was empty, it's empty today. You can't get that money back. It can really shake you when you start really digging in. And maybe that's why a lot of people don't look. They can't handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson said in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. So it's easier to lie to a seller. It's easier to tell a seller, hey, everything's great. We're going to sell top dollar. Well, you better stay in that house for 10 years. You better stay and be able to weather it and have the money. And I hope you can continue to make your mortgage payments. I hope you don't become a statistic where one of the 9 million people who are going to lose their business or 10 million people who are out of work. I hope that doesn't happen to you, because if it does, you're screwed. I don't know what people are talking about when they say real estate is great right now. I can hear the music playing, and there are going to be a lot of people, and I'm going to show you who are going to be shit out of luck and not have a chair when the music stops.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
So, Mr. Doom and Gloom, Barry Cunningham, why are you saying all this? Why are you even interested in being in this market? Because there's a ton of money to be made. I know people call me a vulture. I've been called it many, many times. But I know there's a market for housing, but it's got to be priced correctly. I've got money behind me that we can buy houses. If you got something you want to sell, please feel free to give us a call. We'll work with you. We'll give you an offer within 24 hours. And it's going to be backed up with some hard numbers, not some crazy, insane CMA. I'm going to show you what's happening in your neighborhood. And I challenge any real estate agent to confront me. Anybody. Because what I'm going to show you right now before we wrap up is going to blow you completely away. I mean, nuts. So, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the Broward County data for this quarter. So, this is a report that's put out by the Florida Realtors, and it's a great report. It shows you everything that they want you to see. Yes, I have to couch it that way. They show you everything they want you to see. So you can go through this. It's available online, and it tells you how great the market is, how houses are selling quickly, and the prices are up, and the median time to contract is down, and compared to years before, things are just going so great. But what's most important to me, and what should be to you, is a segment of this report. Way. Let's see. I'm probably on page 19, 20, whatever. And they bury this. They bury this way down. Of course they do. Who's going to sit through, 9, 10, 12 pages of the good stuff to get to the bad stuff? And if you get to this page, you probably don't know what you're looking at. So, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to have to move this so you can see. Okay. This is distressed properties in Broward County. And what you see here is a comparison of 2019 Q4 and Q4 2020. And you can see the different numbers. These are traditional sales. These are foreclosures. These are short sales. If you watched my video yesterday, I tell you what the difference is between a foreclosure and a short sale. You need to know that, especially with what I'm going to show you and what's coming up. So, it's amazing that in 2019 Q4, there were 129 REOs. And with all of the economic downturn, with the whole thing with COVID, just amazingly, there are only 55 in 2020. Things are doing great. We cut the amount of distressed properties by nearly 60%. Mr. Homeowner, everything's fine. You can see on this report that, we've dropped closed sales of foreclosures by 60%. There's just no foreclosures on the market. What about short sales? Oh, short sales are really good too. In 2019, there were 55, as you can see, and this year there were 42. So there's just not a whole lot of foreclosures out there. Anyone who tells you that it's doom and gloom, they're making it up. I'm a realtor. I know better. Things are great. This page here, it's just this much. It's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot. Really. All right, so let's look at something here. And This is going to be fun. So I have a program that I use, and this program is called Refax. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can get in here and play around. But it takes into everything that's on the market, not just the stuff for sale like the MLS does. I'm going to do a quick search. So as we saw, there were, only 42 houses being in short sale, and only 60 of them there were REOs. Man, there's no distressed properties. Market's fine. Okay, so what happens if there were, let's see, if there was an average of, Q4, there was an average of 4,600. You can see the number right there, 4,600 sales in Q4. Just like with the insurance rates, what happens if all of a sudden, instead of just 42 short sales, what if and I'll show it to you again, instead of just 55 REOs, bank-owned property, instead of 42 short sales, those minuscule numbers, what if the numbers were actually being suppressed? What if because of the foreclosure moratorium that you're not really seeing what's going on? So I'm going to do a quick search for you. You're going to love this. So I'm going to look in Broward County. I'm going to look for single family homes only. I'm going to look for homes that are pre-foreclosure. And let's see. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Broward County pre-foreclosure. Oh, no, I want to go down here to foreclosure, and I want to look at the file date. So I'm going to do it from, let's see. I'm going to go back to when this whole COVID thing started. I'm just going to go back to, say, October of 2019. Let's go October 12th. So I'm looking at, just so I can summarize, I'm looking at for all houses in Broward County that are in pre-foreclosure. They haven't gone off at auction yet. Single family whose foreclosure filing date was October 2019 throughout the rest of time here. Let's hit search. And what are we going to find? I don't know if you guys can see that number. It looks kind of small, but I just want you to see this. I'm going to blow it up a little bit and try to move it over. Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you see this? Can you see that? There are 1,865 properties just in Broward County that are in some stage of foreclosure, just sitting there. So a whole lot more than the 52 and 45 and whatever they showed you. There's 1,800 properties just in Broward County that are in some stage of foreclosure. How many of those have actually hit the market? So I'm going to show 250, and I'm going to let this run, and then I'm going to show me status, and the green dots tell me how many are actually on the MLS. And I can see that I can scroll down here and it stops at 70. Out of 1,865 properties that are in some stage of foreclosure, 70 are on the MLS. 70. Close to 1,800 properties nobody knows about. And that's growing every single day. In a normal market, those 1,800 properties, a good portion of them would be hitting the open market right now. There's 1,800 just in Broward County. 1,800 that are in foreclosure that you don't know about. You only know about the 70 that the agents have listed. The other 1,800 are sitting there, just being held back by the courthouse, being held back by governmental moratoriums. You got the bank sitting there. Can we get going here? We need to recoup this money. 1,800 properties. What do you think is going to happen when those 1,800 properties hit the market? What do you think is going to happen when those 1,800 properties are allowed to go through the court system. What's going to happen when those 1,800 properties don't qualify for forbearance agreements? It's carnage. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And then there's like another thing that I can pull up with this this software I'm going to show you. And I began to show you, last week with it. I'm like, boom, let me get here. And I can take any property and I can go in here and go click this button that says distress comps. And what it's going to show me is, hold on. I got to go here. Okay, distress comps. And I got to shrink this so you can actually see this. Unfortunately, I have to do this. Okay, so here are all the other properties that are in foreclosure in this market. I mean, in a general vicinity of this one house. So this one house, here it is. Boom. Here's the what do you call it? It's subject house, and there's 12 houses in foreclosure directly in that same neighborhood. 12 just in that same neighborhood. So I hope you followed that. Hope that didn't get too confusing, but basically every property that I can pull up here has a surrounding. It's like the orcs in Lord of the Rings. They're coming for you. You're sitting there with this great house and, hey man, the value is flying. Oh, I can't believe that we got such a great deal. And then you find out that there's 10 foreclosures surrounding your property that nobody knows about yet because they're not able to be sold. They can do short sales, but what we just saw, 99% of them not even being contacted by a realtor. They're just squatting. They basically aren't doing anything because they don't have to because there's a moratorium. Just think, man. Think to yourself, what is going to happen in the real estate market when 1,800 properties hit the market? It's not an if. Just so you understand it, it's not an if. When these properties hit the market in some shape or fashion, whether it be a short sale or an REO, that's their only alternative. Some of these people have been backed up for months and months and months. They're not paying the mortgage anymore. I've talked to many of them. 1,800 just in Broward. What do you think is going to happen? And now on top of that, you're going to raise the insurance rates for these properties. And eventually we're going to see a tax increase. That 1,800 number is going to swell. And when that happens, Katie bar the door, game over. We are full blown in liquidation mode at that time, and that's what guys like me are here for. Sorry if that makes people seem a little bit upset. I'm not trying to be a bottom feeder. I am a liquidation specialist. I look to make money by liquidating non-performing assets and helping homeowners who have no other alternative. How do I know it's going to get worse? Well, it's pretty simple. They're already telling us. They're already telling us quite loudly. 9 million small businesses in danger of closing. A third of all small businesses are going to probably meet their demise. It's just a matter of when. Nobody yet has any real idea on how to fix this. Trust me, putting on 2 masks ain't gonna fix it. Stopping travel ain't gonna fix it. The banks still have to get paid. So you think the government's gonna come in and make all these payments good? Ain't gonna happen. If you're in foreclosure right now and you need to get out, please give me a call. I'd love to help you. We're gonna have to talk some numbers. I can talk to your bank once you and I come to an agreement. If you're a realtor, you need some information on how this is happening and want to understand the scope of the listing that you have. I do it daily. I look at a property, hey, this property is worth $500,000. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Well, why do you say that? Well, you may have a couple closed sales, but You're not watching what's coming. We live in South Florida. We have seen some of the sunniest, most beautiful, calm days ever right before a hurricane hits. Do you want to be the person sitting in the sun, laying on the beach, knowing there's a Cat 4 coming right at you, but you don't see it, so you don't really care right now because I'm having a great day in the sun? Or do you want to be the person who understands there's a Cat 4 bearing down and you want to board up your windows and make sure you're protected so you don't lose everything? That's where we are right now. That's the difference between what I do and what a realtor who just smiles at the Cat 4 and pretends it's not going to hit the shore. We have a Cat 4, possibly a Cat 5 headed our way. No doubt. We can see the information. It is coming. There's no doubt about it that is definitely coming our way. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? You've got the information. You know how to look. Let me know. Have a great weekend.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.